How do you rotate a point 90 degrees about the origin? You rotate a point 90 degrees about the origin by drawing an L-shaped figure from the origin along one of the axes and then to the point. You then rotate the L-shaped 90 degrees about the origin to find the rotated point. Let's look at an example. You're asked to rotate the point at 3, 0, counterclockwise about the origin by 90 degrees. Start by drawing a line segment from the center of rotation to the point. The origin is the center of rotation in this case, so the line segment will go from here to here. In this case, it overlaps with the x-axis. Remember to keep in mind the direction of rotation. You're asked to rotate it counterclockwise, which is in this direction. Next, perform the 90-degree rotation on the line segment. The resulting line segment should be at a right angle to the original. The y-axis is at a 90-degree angle to the x-axis, so it looks like this. Finally, the end point of this rotated line segment is the location of the rotated point. It's at 0, 3. Notice in this case, because the point started on the x-axis, it ended up on the y-axis after a 90-degree rotation. This is always the case for a point starting on the x-axis. Let's look at another example. This time you're asked to perform the same counterclockwise 90-degree rotation about the origin, but on the point at 3, 2. The difference here is that the point is not on one of the axes, so you can't use the axes directly in this case to figure out how much is 90 degrees. You could use a protractor, but what if you don't have one? There is a clever way to solve this, where you can still use one of the axes to guide you. Let's see how it works. Start by drawing an L shape, like this, from the origin to the point. One part of the L shape is along the x-axis, the other is a perpendicular line connecting to the point. If you rotate the L shape 90 degrees, you also rotate the point 90 degrees. So, let's do that step by step and start by rotating the part of the L shape that runs along the x-axis. The rotation is counterclockwise 90 degrees, so you end up here. Now, finish the rotated copy of the L shape to find your rotated point. Imagine that you start at the origin and move along the side that runs along the x-axis. What happens when you get towards the end? You move 90 degrees, left 2 units. The corresponding side in the rotated L shape needs to do the same. Move from the origin towards the end, then move 90 degrees left, 2 units. And that gives you the location of the rotated point, -2, 3. Let's study one last example. This time you're asked to rotate the point at -2, -3 clockwise about the origin by 90 degrees. So, this time you are rotating in the opposite direction. Let's use the L-shape method once more. Draw an L shape starting from the origin, along the y-axis this time, to the point. Follow the grid. You could just as well have used the x-axis. Start from the origin, move along the x-axis and to the point. The result would be the same. Let's stick to the y-axis for now. If you rotate the L shape clockwise 90 degrees, you also rotate the point 90 degrees. So, let's do that. First, you rotate the line along the y-axis 90 degrees clockwise. Then, finish off the L shape by copying the original shape in the new location. You've found the location of the rotated point. It's at -3, 2. You rotate a point 90 degrees about the origin by drawing an L-shaped figure from the origin along one of the axes and then to the point. You then rotate the L shape 90 degrees about the origin to find the rotated point.